Do you have an immigration question? Visit immigrationquestion.com, the easy way to get your immigration question answered from immigration attorneys. Free registration for users and immigration attorneys, and it's available now. For a limited time offer, visit immigrationquestion.com and get your immigration question answered. Immigrationquestion.com is not a law firm or affiliated with the USCIS. It's an interactive platform between users and immigration attorneys.
Hello everyone and welcome to another live session with ImmigrationQuestion.com. In these sessions, we cover important topics for immigrants, both documented and undocumented, focusing on legal status in the United States. Our goal is to answer as many of your questions as possible. I'm Nikita and I'll be your host for today. Did you know nearly 10 million Mexican-born immigrants live in the United States, making up 24% of the foreign-born population? Alongside them are around 2.7 million Indian immigrants and 2.2 million Chinese immigrants, all contributing to the fabric of American society. These numbers present entire families, parents, children, and spouses, whose futures are now uncertain as enforcement policies shift. This isn't just news, it's real life for millions. Immigration enforcement changes with each administration. But what's different now? What do you need to know to stay informed and protected? And we're keeping this in mind. Our topic today, immigration enforcement under the new administration. What you need to know was thoughtfully created to keep you armed and informed with all you need to know to keep yourself and your loved ones safe in the constantly changing landscape of immigration. Joining us today, once again, is a highly experienced immigration attorney with over 15 years of expertise in business immigration matters. He is licensed to practice in New York as well as the federal district courts of New York Southern and Eastern districts. Not only is he an active member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association, but also represents clients as in the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, Executive Office of Immigration Review, U.S. Department of State, and U.S. Department of Labor Law. Please join me in welcoming Attorney Sonu Lal. We are so excited to have you with us today, Attorney.
Thank you for having me, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have today.
Thank you. To everyone watching, get ready for an exciting session. Grab your notepads and pens and let's dive in. Attorney Lal, let's jump right in. Immigration policies have changed under this new administration. What are some of the biggest shifts you have observed so far?
So, on the day one of the administration, there were several executive orders issued. Amongst the most popular, or at least widely reported in the media, was related to US citizenship. The executive order essentially said that if the mother is either undocumented or even documented and on a visa status, such as a temporary visa H-1B or H-4, giving birth to a child, and father is neither a US citizen nor a green card holder, that child will not be considered as a US citizen, which has been the law of the country for almost 2 centuries, or at least 1.5 centuries. Now, this order was supposed to be effective from February 20th, 2025, next month. And
Mhm.
any child born to such circumstances, meaning to such a mother who is either not documented or on a temporary visa status, would not have been considered as a US citizen. But a court in Washington state, a federal court in Washington state, has issued an injunction against that executive order. So that order will not go into effect. But so far, the administration has announced that this will be appealed to the Court of Appeals and maybe up to the Supreme Court. But as of now, that executive order will not go into effect. Our office was getting so many calls pertaining to this executive order, especially mothers who are due after February 20th. They were asking what's the child status going to be. But fortunately, we have that executive order being stopped by the court. That's about that executive order, which was widely in the news. There are so many other executive orders which are related to immigrants and immigration policies as such. One of those executive order, uh, it says basically about extreme vetting. It also happened during the previous Trump administration. They issued similar executive order, and what practically it means is when you are applying for a visa, either at the U.S.
Mhm.
embassy or even if you are in the U.S. in a visa status such as, for example, H-1B, and you are applying for your extension of your visa status. In such cases, the government will do extreme vetting. What that means is, let's say you are applying for a visa at the U.S. embassy, and you have certain kind of criminal arrest or criminal history, and most likely the government will take a lot of time to inquiring about your criminal history, and even for other kind of cases, the processing time will increase a lot. So we will see going forward the processing time across the board, across all kind of application will increase. And with that, if we have any specific question, I'm happy to answer those questions.
That is a lot to unpack. But
Yeah.
for employers, particularly those hiring foreign workers under H-1B and EB-5 programs, compliance is always a major concern. With changing regulations, what steps should they take to ensure they're on the right side of the law while continuing to attract and retain global talent?
It's a very excellent question. So far, the new administration has not announced specific policies concerning the employment-based immigration, such as H-1B or EB-5. But based on our previous experience with this Trump administration from 2016 to 2020, we can expect that employment-based immigration, including H-1Bs, will get harder and harder. It is expected that new administration will announce certain restrictive policies which will restrict to a certain extent the high skilled immigration or H-1B visas as such.
Interesting. So, Attorney Lal, we have seen a spike in enforcement action, particularly in workplaces and certain communities. What should individuals and employers be doing right now to prepare and protect themselves?
It's an excellent question. So I'll give you a very straight answer on this. Let's say you are undocumented in the US and US Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE knocks on your door. So what you can do, what you cannot do.
Mhm.
First of all, you're not obligated to open the door unless and until they have a judicial order to search your home. So what you can do is you can ask them to pass that order under your door, or maybe they can show it through the window. Once you can see the order, make sure the order is issued by a judge, signed, it has your name and address. That particular order signed by a judge is different from a removal order or a deportation order. If it is not signed by a judge, or even if it is signed by a judge, if it has your wrong name or incorrect address, you need not open your door to your house. You need not let those people inside your home. And even if, let's say, they have a search warrant or an order from a judge, even if you are eventually arrested, you have right to remain silent and you have right to an attorney. You need not speak to them even if they arrest you. You can tell them, I just want to speak to my attorney. You can let them know. If you already have an attorney, you can reach out to them. If you do not have an attorney, you can look for an attorney, and then the attorney can fight on your behalf.
Mhm. That's quite informative. So we have seen also executive orders impacting asylum seekers and humanitarian programs. Many applicants are now stuck in limbo. What legal options do they have under this new enforcement landscape?
So there are so many executive orders, and then based on those executive orders, the government is issuing certain policy memos.
Hmm.
For example, recently, like 2 days ago, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security has announced that they will not continue the parole program, TPS status for immigrants for Venezuela. So people who are on TPS program and who are from Venezuela, their status are going to expire, which means uh, their work permit will be cancelled and they will not no longer be authorized to stay in the US. What these people can do, if they have a valid case for asylum, they can at least file for asylum application. And specifically, people who should be a little bit concerned about all these aggressive enforcement policies, people who have nothing pending with either with USCIS or with the
Hmm.
immigration court. At least if you have something pending, then government can only deport you by following a due process. But if you have nothing pending with any of the US government agencies, then you should be concerned and you should be speaking to an immigration attorney.
Thank you for that, Attorney Lal. Welcome to our audience. If you're just joining us, we're thrilled to have Attorney Sonu Lal with us today, a respected immigration expert who's contributed greatly to today's topic. This is immigrationquestion.com, a platform that makes immigration easier. Ask your question in any language and get connected with a verified attorney who can provide legal guidance. You may even get a free confidential consultation. Visit www.immigrationquestion.com and sign up today. Attorney Lal, as a familiar face on the show and someone who helps immigrants every day, what are your thoughts on immigrationquestion.com and how it supports the immigrant community?
I think it's a great platform. Attorneys who want to use it, and it connects individual who are looking for an immigration attorney to right immigration attorneys. It's a great platform.
Thank you. Attorney Lal, this has been a great conversation. Now it's time for questions and answers. Drop your questions in the chat and we'll answer as many as we can. Or if you'd like to ask live, call us on 513 703 3483. Attorney Lal, before we get into the live Q&A, we know many people worry about their rights under these new policies. What should immigrants, both documented and undocumented, know about protecting themselves and their families?
So we get this question a lot, specifically after this new administration. Specific question that we are asked is what immigrants can do, even documented or undocumented immigrants, and what kind of documents they can carry so that if in case they are encountered by ICE, they can show them the documents. So if you are not a US citizen, let's say even if you are a green card holder or you are here on a visa, you should always carry either your green card or if you are on a visa, your passport with your visa stamp on it.
Mhm.
If you have been issued any kind of IDs by the US government, such as a driving license or a state ID, you should carry those. If you are not documented or you are undocumented in the US, what you can carry is any kind of documentation that your case is pending with any US government agencies. For example, if your asylum case is pending with USCIS, you can carry a receipt of your 589 form, or you can carry your biometrics notice. If your case is pending with immigration court, you can carry your master hearing date notice. Or if you have already been scheduled for an individual hearing date, you can carry that notice. If you do not have those notices, what you can do is you can go to the website where it's called ACIS, Automated Case Information System. You can look by your A number. You can take a printout of your A number, the status of your case. You can carry at least those. In case you are encountered by ICE, you can show them these documents about the pending status of your case.
Thank you for that, Attorney Lal. To our audience, just a reminder, drop your questions in the chat and we'll answer as many as we can today. We've got a question from Shelly. Um, I'm on a O1 visa, but my current employer is shutting down. Can I switch to another employer or do I have to reapply for a new visa?
It's a great question, and it comes at a very relevant time. So first of all, to answer that question, if the employer is shutting down, of course she can change to a different employer. But the reason I said it come at a great time, recently USCIS changed its policy with respect to O1 visa. So if you are on O1 visa or you want to apply for O1 visa, you can kind of self-sponsor yourself. What it means is you can form a company where you can be a sole owner or 100% owner or maybe a majority owner. And that company can sponsor you for an O1 visa. So in this case, what Ms. Shelley can do is she can either switch to a different employer, or if she cannot find a new employer, she can form a new company, typically an LLC, and then that LLC can be the petitioner for her O1 visa.
That's quite interesting. So we have another question from Williamson. In this new administration, I'm worried that the green card renewal process will become harder and take longer. What do you think, please?
So if you are already a green card holder and you are just applying for renewal of your green card,
Mhm.
you will file Form I-90. Uh, Specifically to this question, there is nothing to worry about. Only thing that I would concern about is, as I said, the processing time across the board will increase. So as such, nothing to worry about. But once you file it, just be prepared that it will take a longer time than normally that it would take.
Thank you, Attorney Lau. We have another one from Mohammed. If ICE comes to my house or workplace, what are my rights? Should I answer the door or talk to them? I think you have covered a bit of this.
Yes, a little bit touched upon this topic. If ICE comes to your door, as I said, you don't have to let them in unless and until they have a judicial order. That judicial order differs from what is called a removal order. If they only have a removal order, you need not let them in. Only if they have a judicial order, uh, you can let them in only when the judicial order has your address, your name on it. What you can do, you can ask them to insert the order under the door, or at least they can show it through the window. Only if you see it is from a judge, only then you can let them in. Having said that, about your rights, you have a right to remain silent and you have a right to an attorney. Always remember that.
Thank you. So we have another one from Makale. I applied for a marriage based green card, but the process is taking longer than expected. Are processing times changing under this new administration?
Yes, the processing time um, will likely increase a lot. Typically, if people have any kind of criminal arrest, even for a small offense, even of a misdemeanor, you can expect that the processing time will increase a lot. But in general, across the board, marriage-based case, employment-based case, or other family kind of immigration cases, processing time will increase.
Okay. So I think that is the questions. Oh, we have another one. Okay. So we have a question from Chalio. He's been in the United States for almost 10 years without status. Does this administration have any new policies that can help me get a legal status?
Not specifically with this situation, but in general, if you have been in the US for 10 years and ultimately you are in immigration court, there is a relief called cancellation of removal. If you qualify certain factors, then you may be eligible for a green card. But you would need to consult an attorney whether you qualify under those factors or not.
Thank you, Attorney Lal. Okay, we have another one from Adisu. My asylum case is denied. What do I do? Can I appeal or I have to leave America immediately?
So it depends on from where the asylum was denied. If you file your asylum case with USCIS and it was not approved, then typically it will be referred to the immigration court. And before the immigration court, you will get another chance uh, where immigration judge will hear your case and decide your case. If that's the case, if your asylum case has been denied by an immigration judge, then you do not have to leave US immediately. What you can do is you can file your appeal with Board of Immigration Appeals. That's what you can do.
Yes, that was quite insightful. So I think that's a wrap. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and a special thank you to our guest speaker for sharing his time and expertise. We hope today's session on immigration enforcement under the new administration was helpful. Visit immigrationquestion.com to connect with an experienced attorney who can guide you through your immigration journey. If you missed anything or want to rewatch, check out the recording on Spotify by searching Borderless Talk by immigrationquestion.com. Join us next week for another great session on employment based immigration, where we will be joined by Sonia Paras, who will cover understanding the timeline and processing times of adjustment of status. You won't want to miss it. Once again, thank you so much, Attorney Sonu Lal. We can't wait to have you back.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Have a wonderful afternoon. I'll see you next week. Stay informed and empowered on your immigration
Do
journey.
you have an immigration question? Visit immigrationquestion.com, the easy way to get your immigration question answered from immigration attorneys. Free registration for users and immigration attorneys, and it's available now. For a limited time offer, visit immigrationquestion.com and get your immigration question answered. ImmigrationQuestion.com is not a law firm or affiliated with the USCIS. It's an interactive platform between users and